real second week of practice having started, Neil mentioned one of the things he notices is the big leap for a lot of teams in camp is between that first week and second week. What have you seen from your defense in that aspect?
I'll speak for the whole team on that. Is I think we're making what's the word I'm looking for? We're inching our way. I don't know if there's been any giant strides, but we're as an offense, and we're catching the ball better and throwing the, it just seems like running it. I think defensively, I'm just kind of going practice to practice to practice, but you see, you got to be careful, and I'm trying to figure out the right way of saying this. When you're raising your kids, you see them every day. You don't see them make strides at things because you see them every day. So it's usually people that are outside the family that see your kids grow or whatever. The same type of thing in this scenario, where when you're around them all the time, you really got to be careful to not forgive or not see the small strides that they're making. So we're better at bending our knees. We're better at understanding angles. We're actually getting better at playing footballs, even though there's occasionally you may not think that. So there's a tons of things. We're better. D linemen with their footwork. I talked about that last time I was here. We're better at attacking. We're better at knowing how to play the edges. We're better at our hands. I could go on and on and on. So there's a lot of things that we're getting a lot better at. Are we by any means where we need to be? Obviously not, but we don't have to be yet. So, hopefully I answered your question.
You mentioned a lot of individual improvements there.
Well, you know what, and that's the way we had Coach Nail in here the other day and talked to the team, and he talked about that. As you get better as an individual, then the team gets better, and that's exactly right. It's each individual gets a little bit better every day and doesn't do like a country two-step where you take a step forward and 2 steps back or however that goes. It's been a long time since I've done that, but as long as we don't take backward steps or too many backward steps and just keep making steps forward, I think we'll get where we'll get as good as we can get. So that's what we're fighting at, is not letting there be any days where the kids aren't into it. Coach Brown, he is everywhere, and he's into everything, and he's coaching everything, and that's what great head coaches do. And he's motivating the players and motivating the drills and motivating the coaches and probably motivating the trainers and the equipment guys and the people in there cooking. So he's got everybody motivated, and as a group, we're all kind of moving forward.
Along with that, though, is there a little part of the process that's putting those together, guys playing together?
Yes, sir. And I know that becomes something that we really got to be cognizant of, and that really plays a bigger part, I think, on the offensive line, maybe defensive line, a little bit in the secondary. But in secondary, you got to be careful doing that too much, because all of a sudden somebody sprains an ankle or tweaks a knee or gets ejected or whatever. Then you got to put somebody in. So you also got to practice this group with this group. So you got to. That's some things you got to do too. So Coach Brown's got a good plan, and the way we go about doing things, it kind of covers all those bases.
I feel like you're pretty set with your first 11, and right now it's just seeing who the number 2s are going to be?
I think we're getting closer to that, and we've got to, because before we turn our head and the game's going to be on us. So we've got to kind of be getting pretty close to that. And then I just was talking to Dylan Tonkery in the locker room. We're trying to practice. We're trying to install the things we'll use throughout the season. And here in a couple of days, we won't be running all these different things like every other day. We're trying to insert something, so later on in the season, when we got to pull this out and play it against Missouri or play it against Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, or down the road, we've kind of already looked forward on a lot of stuff and what we might do versus these teams. When we pull these packages out it won't be the first time that they've heard them. You know, we're kind of hitting things now, so we'll have for the season.
Tonkery was a guy that missed some time with an injury last year. Seemed like he was kind of getting reacclimated during the spring.
Today, that's what I told him. I said I finally saw Dylan Tonkery around a little bit today, and I think he's just getting better and better every day. You know, there's a lot of wise men that say if you just, you know, you stack quarters on top or stack pennies on top and just kind of get better every day over a period of time, you know, you will improve a lot, or you'll be a rich man, however that goes. So I think that's what we're trying to do, and that's what he's doing. So.
Heard that Taj had some sacks on Monday's scrimmage. So obviously, what's his development looking like, Austin?
Yeah, you know what? Taj had one, but we've had a bunch of guys have them. You know, one of the things that our D-line is going to be a little bit different than probably what they've seen is, you know, our guys are, you know, our D-line has got to be a force. And we do a lot of things to try to give them edges and angles. And so our D-line, they've got to, you know, our five men got to stop the run a bunch of times, and we're not going to be successful. So our one linebacker, our Mikes, we're talking about Dylan, but our D-line's got to stop the run, and they got to be great in pass. So a lot of those guys have had some sacks. So the thing that we've got to do, it's got to be us. It's got to be a we deal. And if we have D linemen playing more than 40 snaps a game, then we're probably not doing what we need to do. We're trying to develop the depth where we don't have to do that. And, you know, I could go into an analogy, but I'm not going to go into it. So,
Juggled some things around to find Bandits. You know, you even moved guys recently.
Yeah.
Where are you there?
Well, we're still, I'm not saying we haven't found them, but we're still trying to get the guys we have there better. We're still not anywhere near where we want to be. If you look at the history, I think of the Bandit position, there's been 7 NFL guys. The last 2 years been all conference guy. The year before that, it was defensive player of the year. So that position's really, really important to what we do. I've also had some years where we played for conference championships at some schools where Bandits weren't very good, and we didn't ask them to do a bunch of stuff. My Charlie Bailey, who was the first guy that gave me a job, is actually from Polka, and the polka dots. Anyway, he used to laugh about that, but he's from Polka, and I remember he said you get your not so good players to use up the blockers so your good players can make the tackles, and that sounds pretty simple. So there's a lot of things that we do, and I'm not saying that we're using our Bandits to use up the blockers. That's not what I'm saying. But, you know, we want other teams to try to find that position, and that position needs to be one that's a playmaker.
The freshman, Nick Troy, Tay, and then Tyke is now back there. Just
yeah, we're daycare, and with the twos, it looks like they're all going to be freshmen pretty much. So, yeah, it is. Those guys are doing a better job, and they're better than some of the other guys that are here. And you know, thing about it is you're only a freshman like for one day, so they've already had their freshman day, and that's over with. No more excuses, and they got to play like they're older guys. And today's college football, there's a lot of freshmen playing, so they got to step up and play.
Vic, it sounds like that Matt and Neal are making some changes at center, but maybe Darius has something to do with that in the way he's played.
I think Darius has been more solid this fall than he was in the spring. I think that we're trying to make sure we have a 3 deep at nose. I think that's a critical position. Most football people say you got to be good down the middle, and that was kind of said back in the old days when you played a lot of 1-high defenses. But there is some truth to it, and we have to be good at nose guard if we're going to be good on defense. And Darius has had a better fall camp than what he was in the spring.